Hey guys, we got a 2002 Volkswagen Bug in here today. Customer's complaint is that the battery keeps going dead on this vehicle. Before he brought it here, he decided to go buy himself a brand new battery, make sure that that wasn't the problem. And then he brought it to us and said that he doesn't know what's going to happen, if it's going to go dead or not. So we were busy yesterday, so we let it sit overnight, and came in this morning and the battery was stone dead. So what we're gonna do is I have my meter hooked up on here already, but I'm testing this thing for a parasitic draw, and if it has a draw on it after it sits for a little while and everything gets a chance to power down, I'm gonna use my amp hound and I'm gonna start checking at fuses to see if we have any draw. Now I've been meaning to do a video with an amp hound anyway, and I thought it was pretty cool that you know, I could actually show that tool. I just haven't had a chance yet. Alright, so we're going to take a look at the meter. This thing's been sitting probably for about 15-20 minutes or so. We're going to take a look at the meter and see where we're at, and we'll go from there. It's almost 2.5 amps. That's got a serious draw. This thing will kill the battery in no time. Alright. In all honesty, when you have a draw, when I have a draw that's this much on a car, I suspect things like alternators, things like that are shorted. Not something like a obviously not a computer that's not powering down, or you know what I mean. This is like a light is on, headlights, parking lights, like something, you know, something with some good draw to it, or the alternator shorted. So what I'm going to do is, what I'm going to do is I'm going to check and see. Obviously, I did a visual already on the lights. There's no lighting on in the car, you know, outside or inside. So I'm gonna actually, I'm gonna pull this cover up. It's already loose, and we'll go here to the alternator and unplug. I want to take the main battery feed here off of the alternator. Grab this thing here. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the camera. I'm going to leave you guys looking at the meter. Let's set this in here. See that? Okay, so you guys can get a good view on that, right? I'm going to disconnect this alternator. And we're going to see if that short drops out. Hopefully it does. We're going to do the alternator when we're done here. If not, then we're going to be going further. And there you go. We have a bad alternator. Simple enough. So yeah, we're going to put an alternator on here. Maybe there'll be a video on how to change an alternator on a Volkswagen Bug. That's cool. Get a price, get an okay, and we'll see. Okay, so the VW we were checking earlier that had the short in the alternator, it turns out the customer did not want to spend any money on the car, so he paid us to diagnose it, and he's out the door. It seems that car was at a few different places over the last couple of months for this problem, and he spent a lot of money on parts that it didn't need, things that even for diagnosis he was charged like $300 from the dealer, and they concluded it was something else that was wrong with the car, which is not true. It's the alternator for sure, or whatever. I've been here before, and he just decided he doesn't want the car anymore because it's too expensive to maintain. So that's done. So we moved on to this Buick here, which had intake manifold gaskets done some time ago. Well, let me see. This is what are we in? January. It was done in September, and when they replaced the intake manifolds, they also replaced one of the elbows on the on the manifold that goes to the tensioner, through the tensioner on this car, this design. And I don't know if you can see this too good, but this O-ring is completely flat and damaged, and there's silicone all around it, which they try to seal it up, I guess, because it was leaking, and they got away with it for a couple of months. But these things here leak. The original ones are plastic, which they didn't change the first one, the bottom one. That's this here, which is broken half and leaking as well. So this had to be done anyway, because even though the O-ring on this is bad, that's also leaking. So we replaced that with an aluminum piece. And I just wanted to kind of talk about this a minute. This design is terrible from the dealer. Plastic, it gets brittle and leaks and breaks, over time. In any case, when you install these things, you're not supposed to put silicone on the O-ring or in the hole or wherever, which I had to clean this whole thing out here. It was a mess. What you could use is either refrigerant oil for O-rings. What I use is this stuff here, Castrol AC Seal lube, and just spray a little bit on the O-ring around it and shove it in. It's perfect. It's perfectly safe. It actually provides protection for the O-ring as well. The rubber keeps it fresh, lubricated, and it'll give it longer life. So if you guys are doing any of these things, that's what I would recommend. This is the, let's see if I can get a shot here. This is the point here where it connects from the intake manifold into the tensioner, and then you have another which is down here. Alright, this is the other one. That was the one that I just showed you that was plastic that broke, and that's kind of a common sense thing here. You would think that these parts shouldn't be made out of plastic, GM, but again, I'm not the engineer. I'm the guy that has to fix it for the engineer. So anyway, Dorman at least came out with a nice update on these things made out of aluminum. It should last for a very long time, and definitely aren't going to suffer from the fatigue that the plastic gets and the rotting. So yeah, anyway, if most of the time when guys do these, it's when they do the intake manifold gaskets on these 3800s. Gaskets are notorious for leaking on these, and if they do leak and you go to take these things apart, there's about a 99.9% chance that if those pieces that are in there are still plastic, they're going to break. They don't come out. They're too brittle. And even if they come out, replace them. Do yourself a favor. It's like $20 or $25 for the set, something like that. It's well worth the investment, so you don't have to do the job twice, like this one. But I didn't do it the first time. But anyway, just figured I'd share this little tidbit with you guys. If you don't know, Castrol, use this lube for any O-rings that you're putting together. It makes the job 100 times easier. Everything goes together without any friction, without any damage to the O-rings. I use them on injectors, injector O-rings, all that stuff as well. It's perfectly safe. Never had any problems. It's about $1.60 a can. Great stuff. So just figured I'd pass that along, guys. I'm going to button this thing up, pressure test it, make sure that we don't have any other problems going on here that were overlooked, and we'll get this thing out the door.